We're going to call this meeting to order, September 3rd, 2025 at 7:04 p.m. Please rise and join in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, please call the roll, please.
Mr. Peck?
Here.
Mr. Henderson? Mr. Taylor?
Here.
Mr. Saul? Here. Mr. Lawson? Mr. Flower?
Here. All right, so next item on the agenda is I'm going to motion to go into executive session under Ohio Revised Code 121.22 to discuss pending litigation before the Ohio Supreme Court that involved the city, inviting in Mr. Rowe, Mr. Holmes, and Mr. Henderson when he arrives. We have a second? Second. First, please call the roll.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Saul?
Yes.
Mr. Flower?
Flowers, yes.
Mr. Peck?
Yes. All right. Motion that we return from executive session. Time is 7:30 p.m. We have a second.
Second.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Peck?
Here. Yes. Sorry.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Saul?
Yes.
Mr. Flower?
Yes. Okay. Mr. Rose, would you please provide an update for the public?
Certainly. So in relation to the current action pending before the Ohio Supreme Court, yesterday the attorneys for the city filed the city's merit brief. I've updated council about that. They have asked for a very brief report and summary of the brief to the public. I think there's no better way of doing it than just kind of reading the summary from the brief itself. And this is how the city's brief begins. Perhaps it is best to start with the proverbial elephant in the room. In November 2024, the citizens of Nelsonville voted on and enacted Issue 23, a citizen initiative to abolish Nelsonville's city charter. And now, we are all here before this court less than a year later because Nelsonville City Council recently enacted Ordinance 5425, an emergency measure that repeals Issue 23. Nelsonville acknowledges its late in the calendar enactment of this ordinance causes numerous inconveniences. Despite that, Nelsonville respectfully submits that the enactment was lawful and the inconvenience was necessary to avoid worse outcomes here. And some might even characterize City Council's actions here as a noble last effort of dedicated civil servants designed to preserve vital city services enacted only after efforts to give effect to Issue 23 were exhausted. Still others might call it tyranny. But importantly, this court, referring to the Supreme Court, has no place in that political discussion. Indeed, 90 years ago, this court established that a city council has the power under its home rule authority to ignore the voice of the people when it is enacted via an initiated ordinance, as was the case here. That cites to the Singer case. Now, this is not a frequently litigated issue because, as Singer cautions, although a city has the power under its home rule authority, the electorate retains the ultimate recourse of defeating any offended council persons at reoccurring municipal elections. Accordingly, judgment on the prudence of the ordinance is reserved for a different venue, the ballot box. Before this court is the legality of the ordinance and its effect on the upcoming general election. Nelsonville Understanding the relief requested is complicated, submits that the law at issue here is clear. As litigated in the 4th District last year, issue 23 was a citizen-initiated ordinance governed by Article 10 of the city charter. And Singer expressly provides that a city retains the home rule power to overturn such an initiative even prior to its enactment date. This court's subsequent jurisprudence on home rule authority only reinforces this point. And after establishing the constitutionality of Ordinance 5425 as the law demands here, Nelsonville is plainly entitled to relief to give that enactment its lawful effect as it pertains to the upcoming elections, as outlined fully below. And along with the brief that the city submitted to the Supreme Court, a total of about 383 pages of brief and supporting documentation. I will say this. I think this is a nice edge case that could go either way with the Supreme Court. The city's position, this is a little rare for a legal case where logic reasoning from first principles lines up very neatly on past precedent. And both the past precedent and that logic from first principles lines up in support of the city's position. I understand that the conclusion that the city draws is one that's difficult to wrap our heads around. That's why I think it's a knife edge case and it could really truly go either way. What will happen next in this case is the other parties have on Friday to file their briefs. The city then has until next Monday to file its reply. At that point, the case will be submitted to the Supreme Court for its decision, and it could come at any point. Given the complexity of this case, given that it's almost certainly going to be a very significant case with statewide implications, I don't think the Supreme Court will issue a decision immediately. I think they have to issue a decision in advance of September 17th or 18th, I think is when the deadline for mailing overseas ballots is. So I would anticipate a decision coming out most likely, I could be wrong about this, but most likely on September 15th or 16th. Again, at this point, I have no idea how they'll rule, but I truly believe it's a knife-edge case that could go either way. And that's the sum of what I can report at this time.
Okay, thank you very much. At this point, we're going to open the floor to public comment. You'll have 3 minutes to speak, and please, while someone is speaking, if we can minimize the talking in the audience while they're taking their time, just so that everybody can hear, as well as the audio and the folks that are at home. I'm just asking out of respect of, those that are speaking, if you give them the opportunity to speak, I think that's only appropriate. So at that point, if there's anybody that would like to give a citizen's comment.
Yeah, I'm Sue Powell, Washington Street in Nelsonville. I kind of wanted to speak first because I want to clarify some remarks that I made at the meeting last week. On the following day, Mr. Clement and Mr. Dunphy were on the radio being very critical of me because they thought that I was downplaying or attacking the ad hoc committee. That was never, then I took about 2 days and I watched the videos and I never spoke about the ad hoc committee. So I want to make that very clear. They were comments because I had the knowledge, and I had seen in the media, one of the council members had quoted about the ad hoc committee maybe not being able to finish their transition plan. And then in the ordinance that you're appealing, issue 23, it says the passage of issue 23 without a clear transition plan, as noted by the Nelsonville Ad Hoc Advisory Commission, risk significant disruption to city government, including expiration of the current council terms to November 30th of 25, and the lack of legal authority to establish wards or other necessary government. I thought you were trying to appeal because there was no transition. I don't know why they felt it was necessary to be so critical of my comments. They were facts, they were things I had looked up. And that's all I was doing. Somebody could have called me and said, hey, you know, can we talk with you or can we get some more information? That's it. Now, the other thing I'll point out is it looked like there was no transition plan. By those two things, the media from council and from the ordinance. Yesterday, I got an alert that the ad hoc committee is meeting tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. On their agenda is approval of a transition plan. You guys talk with each other. That seems like there's some conflict there. And maybe you're using the transition plan to avoid going to statutory. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Thank you.
Donnie, you okay? My Lord. John Meeks, Walnut Street, Nelsonville. I'm just gonna read what I prepared as usual, because my wife says I wander off too much when I speak if I don't read what I've written. So, you know, I stand here and I ask myself, why even get up here and speak? Because it's obviously apparent you do not listen or represent the citizens of Nelsonville. Obviously, in your brief to the Supreme Court, you state you do not have to listen to the residents of Nelsonville. My question for you tonight as a council, when will you stop wasting our tax dollars to fight your citizens that voted 860 people for? From my research, there was a total of 1,224 votes casted for or against issue 23. From what I found, that is one of the biggest voter turnouts in years in the city of Nelsonville. And I've lived here about 28, 29 years. And I've not missed one election. You're supposed to represent the citizens of Nelsonville, so please start representing the 70% that voted for issue 23. If you say you're fighting for the others that didn't vote, then maybe they should have just gotten up and gone to the polls and voted down issue 23. Obviously, 70% of the residents that voted felt strongly enough to show up and vote for issue 23. Citizens want to change. Change was good. I was around when the charter went into place. I think it's time for change again as a resident. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, John.
I'm sure that you're all familiar with me, but for the camera, I'll say I'm Greg Smith, and I live at 238 Adams Street, Nelsonville, Ohio. I want to read Article 1, Section 2 of the Ohio Constitution. All political power is inherent in the people. Government is instituted for their equal protection and benefit, and they have the right to alter, reform, or abolish the same whenever they deem it necessary. And my whole point is, we have a constitutional right to abolish the charter. If you can abolish our abolishment, we no longer have that constitutional right. And I think you're very wrong. And your reasons for trying to abolish our abolishment are completely fabricated. December problem. There isn't a December problem. ORC 301 says that you serve until you're replaced. There is no December problem. You have to, one of the other things you said, you have to reinstitute the fire department and the police department. Well, Title VII of that statutory government is organized under has sections of law for the police and fire department. So basically, you fed the people a line of stuff that's not true, saying there's no transition plan. The only thing that you guys had to do to make a smooth transition was pass a budget. So when, on January 1st, somebody, our employees could be paid without having to, it takes about 10 days or so to form a temporary budget. So that's all you had to do and everything would have been fine. But, so your reasons are suspect at best. I would hardly think it's that, but I'm gonna close with this. I grew up in a town that I thought was Camelot. I could sit and, Bob Hollenball's mother, I worked with his dad up to the Children's Center on PB Hospital. I delivered papers to almost everybody's house in this. We were a community that, when we talked about Earl Hillary, our mayor, we trusted and respected him. Same way with Don Kearns, same way with Bob's mother. I think what you guys have done, you have forever removed the trust of the citizens of Nelsonville have in local government. And I agree the Supreme Court will settle this whatever way. You are wrong. When the people speak, you're obligated to abide by their wishes. And I think Article 1, Section 2 of the Ohio Constitution makes that plain. And thank you for allowing me to talk.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to speak?
Lynn Bishop, 1080 First Boulevard, Nelsonville. And I think that we've heard enough. This is the city. This is the city. They're probably neighbors, maybe relatives, I don't know, friends. This is the city. And the city can understand why we're here, why this has been to court so many times. And it could go either way. You said either way, well, what? Like you said, if you abolish the abolishment, what do we have? And I don't think that's the way it works. I don't think that's the way it works. The city has spoken. So, and to the camera, the city has spoken. So why can't we get, and if somebody out here had a question or something to say, okay, Mrs. John Doe, what is it? Instead of, you're out of order, you're out of order. You know, no, these are friends, neighbors, probably relatives. They need to be heard. They need to be heard. And I think this has been around so many times, on the radio so many times. Every town around us has got statutory government, doesn't it? Every town around us. So it's not something to be afraid of. But these are people, we love these people in some respect because they're friends, neighbors, sometimes relatives, and there you go.
Thanks, Lynn. Thank you.
Thanks for the laugh.
No doubt. Okay, would anybody else like to provide comment?
I have a question. I want to know why we had to have an ad hoc, whatever you call yourself.
Ad hoc.
Why you needed to hire people to make decisions for you, decide to make a transition. I think the transition is done by statutory form, not the charter, you're going to not be here. So I don't understand the reason for that. Can you tell me?
I don't know if you want to provide a comment to that.
I mean, I think the reason for the issue 23 commission is so we, under issue 23, we're starting with the charter. The vision is to end in the statutory form of government. So we have point A and point B. The transition is to give us the pathway between the two. And I think that's what the commission is anticipating, that transition plan that they're putting out tomorrow or finalizing tomorrow. I think that's what they envisioned their purpose as supplying.
But, I mean, you might. Oh, I thought you started with
Was the puppet master speaking there, Vicky?
what?
Was the puppet master speaking for you? I thought Greg already had it.
Order.
The audience
Order.
is not allowed to speak.
Won't you shut the fuck up?
Hey, oh, all right, listen, hey, let's be respectful here, please, okay?
Excuse yourself.
Hold on, I'm gonna stop your time for a second, okay? I'm sorry, hold on a second. All right,
You still get the rest of it.
you still get your time. I apologize. I just don't want you to lose your time because other people were speaking. So
But
please be respectful though towards those that are speaking and allow them to speak their comments, please. And let's please not use the vulgarity in a public meeting, please. Okay.
Since I took some of Ms. McDonald's time, can you give her back?
Sure, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm sorry, I didn't mean that for that, so please go ahead.
I just, I didn't understand the reason for it. And even though you laid it out, doesn't mean that we will or have to do it according to what you laid out, right or wrong?
Well, so an attorney only gives suggestions and advice. A client is always free to, an attorney's great consternation is free to disregard it. Same principle with the issue 23 commission. It's just to give advice. It's an advisory commission.
Okay, so that, the way I take it, we don't have to do what's already laid out. We can read it if we choose to, yes, and if we choose, or even maybe part of it and not all of it.
Similarly to recommendations that come out of committees.
What?
Similarly to recommendations that come out of the city council's committees. When we meet in our committees, we decide whether or not we want to place legislation or just other decisions before the full council, which then has the opportunity to discuss the decision or the legislation and ultimately decide whether or not to go with it.
So what you're trying to tell me is that you're going to tell us what you've decided, then we can make a choice? Is that what you're? I didn't know.
she's still talking about the ad hoc.
And I'm saying it functions similarly to other like advisory bodies within the city government. And most, not all, like legislative bodies that have committees and commissions that advise them.
So what you're saying is like if the statutory government's here, you're going to give us advisement of what we should or could do?
I don't understand your question. Your question makes it kind
May
of
I?
sound
Yeah.
like,
The committee advises us and so the committee doesn't actually dictate anything. They come together as a committee, they come up with what they'd like to pass on as advice to us. Similar, and most of the committees operate like that unless there's some special kind of committee that I don't know about. We don't tell them anything, and necessarily the information is more of a flow from them to us.
To you, and then you
Then-
make the
then from
decisions,
us
what?
Back
Okay.
down, you see what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah,
Sorry.
that makes.
All right, I was trying to get it figured out there.
Okay, that's all right. That's all, thank
Thank
you.
you, thank you. Anybody else like to provide comment? Okay. We will move on to council discussion. So if there's any council members that have any discussion they'd like to have.
I would like, I would like to reiterate what I said, so many months ago at our last special meeting, last Wednesday or Tuesday. But, I have to say and clarify that I've stated that I definitely, support the citizens, which 860 of the citizens, which possibly some of you are here representing some of your neighbors, like Lynn said, some of your neighbors, family, friends. Well, I support the 70% that voted to change this form of government from a statutory, or from a charter to a statutory. On the converse, if they would have voted 70% to stay a charter, and someone would have fought that, I would have supported them. So it's not just that I'm supporting the charter, I'm supporting the citizens, whichever way they wanted to vote it. And again, if they voted 70% for a charter and it was being fought, I would have supported that 70% for a charter. I hope I made some kind of sense.
That's the fair way.
Yeah. For the
The majority.
citizens is my point, yes. Okay, thank you.
Thank
I
you,
feel
Mr.
the same way, except if it were in reverse and it were equally flawed, I would still be doing the same thing if it makes you feel any better.
It doesn't.
I tried. Give me that this time.
And 5 years.
Thank you, Mr. Peck. Ms. Joseph Saul, you have any discussion or comments that you'd like to make?
I have nothing to add at this time.
All right, I don't have anything to add at this time either. At this point then, we're at the end of the meeting, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Joseph Saul?
Yes.
Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Mr. Peck?
Yes.
All right, we are adjourned at 7:54.
Doesn't that, just at the